Well, let's hope he can make the difference this evening. It is shaping up to be a fantastic night of football. We will bring you goal updates from Switzerland, where Hibs are 3-1 up against Luzern from the first leg. That kicks off at 7:45 as well, but as you can probably tell, the temperature has just risen a few notches at Tynecastle. The teams have emerged. Heart of Midlothian versus the Norwegians, Rosenborg. What will happen this evening? Rosenborg 2-1 up from the first leg. Let's sit back and find out. Commentary now coming from Alan Preston, Craig Levine, and your match commentator, Andy Barge.
Thanks very much, Jonathan. Yes, the scarves are being twirled around almost every head inside Tynecastle as we speak. This time last year, Hearts were safe in the knowledge European group stage football was imminent. There's no such comfort blanket this season. Rosenborg's 2-1 win last week must be overturned for a Conference League playoff against either PAOK of Greece or Croatia's Hajduk Split. Lawrence Shankland's late goal put some wind in Hearts' sails coming back over the North Sea. The tie is in the balance. Tynecastle is sold out, with fans hoping the next 90 minutes will be the best show in town tonight. There's a very small gathering of Rosenborg fans off to our left in the school end. There's only no more than 100 or so, I would estimate. Certainly loads less than Hearts had cheering the team on in Trondheim last Thursday. We'll run you through the teams before we get underway. The players are just sprinting off into their positions. Hearts have gone with a 4-2-3-1 with Xander Clark in goals, Atkinson, Kent, Rowles and Kingsley across the back, Cammy Devlin and young Denham, 19 years old, in midfield. Shankland is up front, supported by Oda, Boyce and Cochrane. One change for Rosenborg. Nelson, who scored the winner for them last week, is out, so Holse moves over to the left-hand side to replace him. He's a dangerous player, one to watch tonight. They also go with a 4 at the back. Hansen in nets, Anderson, Reitan, Jensen and Pereira. Borkeet, Skarsheim and, here, listen to this, Naipan, just 16 years old, assisted both of Rosenborg's goals last week. He starts again in central midfield, number 41. Thorvaldsen, the Icelandic international, is up front with Fredriksson and Hulse on either side to support him. Hearts are back in their maroon kit. Rosenborg in their traditional all-white from head to toe. A win by 2 goals takes Hearts through. A 1-goal margin invites extra time. Remember, away goals a distant memory now. Only a win will do, as Hearts try to do something they haven't done in more than 30 years, which is nullify a first leg defeat in Europe. And that was a 4-2 win against Sparta Prague in the UEFA Cup, a game in which one of our co-commentators, Craig Levine, scored. Fond memories, Craig? Does it stretch that far back?
Just about, Andy. That was an awful long time ago.
Well, Cammy Devlin is standing over the ball, about to get underway for kick-off. As we look at it, from the Wheatfield, Hearts are going from right to left. The atmosphere has been cranked up notch by notch over the last 15 to 20 minutes. We're at full voltage now, as Hearts get us underway, and it's straight out for a throw-in on the halfway line. Long ball from summer signing Kent goes out for a throw-in. Rosenborg up to go down the line with Anderson. Kent gets his head to it first, nods it to Cochrane, who's in left midfield tonight. Alan Preston, he's been probably left back more often than not, but in comes Kingsley.
Yeah, he likes getting forward, Cochrane, from the left back area, so it's just a step up, 10-15 yards. So, and I think there's a danger down this right hand side for Rosenborg, so the Hearts having virtually 2 left backs in that area.
Yeah, Fredriksson is the right winger for Rosenborg. He scored the first last week. Here's Skarkin, the replacement, crossing the ball towards the far post. Fredriksson's loitering. It's going to drift towards the corner flag, and it's thumped clear by Atkinson. Brought down by Borgeits, the central midfielder, over on the left-hand side for Rosenborg. Bouncing around, and the Norwegians take a moment here just to put their foot on the ball and send it all the way back to their goalkeeper Hansen, the only player in the Rosenborg team in his 30s. They do have a very young outfield, average age of just 23. Cochrane now for Hearts in left mid, gives it back to Kingsley, who rolls it back to Xander Clark. Left-footed clearance down the throat of the pitch, met by the Rosenborg captain Reitan, who nods it only as far as Liam Boyce. He gives it to Kingsley on the left-hand side. Bit of encouragement here for the Hearts fans. Cochrane on the underlap, looks to beat his man. Right hand inside, it's well won by the centre half who can't clear properly. Falls to Kingsley, whose cross is blocked. Corner to Hearts. Encouraging start, Craig.
Yeah, I was watching Shankland as Cochrane went up the left-hand side there, and he was peeled off into the back area, and he was just desperate for the ball to be thrown in the box, and that's something I think Hearts need to do at every opportunity.
Cochrane places the ball down on the near left-hand side. Quite a narrow run-up he's prepared here. One hand in the air. It's a very packed 6-yard area. Floated cross towards the back post. Atkinson's up. It's a looping header over the crossbar. No harm for Rosenborg.
There was a chance. It was as if they tried to isolate Kent at the back post on his own. It was a ball driven. It was a 1v1 situation. And the centre forward who's marking him goes under the ball, and I think Kent should have just headed it back into the area.
Yeah, he should have done.
Poor header.
A free header, Alan, wasn't it? Thorvaldsen's got some sort of mask on. Maybe like a problem.
Bone or something, nose maybe.
Goal kick for Rosenborg down the middle of the park, and just as Craig mentions that, Thorvaldsen gets down on his hunkers, just clutching his nose after coming together with Kent. Rosenborg have gone all the way back to Hansen again, who sends it down the left-hand side this time. Thorvaldsen definitely struggling, Craig. It's a good spot there. Atkinson wins the ball for Hearts in the right back area. Infield to Kent. He sweeps it forward to a white jersey. Nobody in maroon near that one. Hearts were dominant for stages against Zurich in their Europa League playoff last year, before the late goal really knocked the stuffing out of them. Can they capitalise on a good performance here if they can find one? Meanwhile, Rosenborg have won a free kick level with the 18-yard box on the left-hand side. It's Thorvaldsen who is coming together with Kent Allen.
It's poor defending by Kent. He lets the ball bounce. He's got to go and attack the ball. Thorvaldsen gets in front of him and he brings him down, and it's a free kick. And Hearts have been not great at set play so far this season. You know, and that's the last thing you want, is for them to get a free kick 17 yards, 18 yards out, wide on the left-hand side, and they can flood the box.
Hearts have everybody back in the 18. Here comes the outswinging delivery. It's met by a Rosenborg head. Great diving save, and it's just gone over the line on the rebound, and Rosenborg have the lead after only 4 minutes. And it's Thorvaldsen, the man who won the free kick, who gets it over the line at the second attempt. And Hearts' task has just become a lot harder now. After 4 minutes, Hearts 0, Rosenborg 1.
Yeah, it's a disaster, really. I mean, there was a wonderful save from Xander Clark from the initial header, but it was a free header inside the 6-yard box. There's nobody marking him. Then, of course, the ball's come back out, and Thorvaldsen was the first to react, wasn't he? He's the one that's managed just to squeeze the ball underneath Xander Clark. He desperately tried to claw the ball back from behind the line, but it was definitely a goal. The ball was over the line.
Honestly, you can see it coming. I've watched it since the first game of the season at Perth, and then last week, and then on Sunday. Set plays, they're really vulnerable, Hearts. There's no one dominating. First and foremost, it's a crazy free kick by Kent on the far side. Absolutely. Go and attack the ball, knock it out for a throw-in and defend it. No, he pulls the player down, invites pressure from a free kick coming in. You're right, Craig, it's a free header. And then they're first to react from a brilliant save from Xander Clark. Been a dreadful start from Hearts, really has been. And it's deflated the crowd already.
Hearts had everybody back in the 18-yard box. Rosenborg had 3 players outside it, so they were heavily outnumbered. They were first to the first ball and the second ball, and they're looking to break here down the middle of the Hearts half, but the ball is won by Kent, who then slips over it, and that affords an opportunity here for the Norwegians to come forward again. Naipan, the youngster, he sets up Fredriksson for the shot across goal. It's horribly dragged from around 10 yards, and that's a huge let-off for Hearts. It remains 1-0.
I'll tell you what, Kent's a lucky boy again. I mean, he's made another blunder there. I mean, the supporters are starting to turn a little bit already, and that's the last thing that Hearts want in this situation. 2 pieces of play that was really, really hesitant, and he's invited pressure that was unnecessary.
I know they've soaked the pitch. When the players went off after the warm-up, the sprinklers were on, and it looks like he's got the wrong boots on. He's slipped 2 or 3 times already.
Less than ideal then for the hosts.
Now they need to get the next goal, Andy. It's as simple as that.
You'll only go through in normal time now if they can score 3 without any Norwegian reply. 2-1 will take us to extra time. Plenty of time. The ball across from the Norwegians is not great, and Rosenborg managed to recover. Oda was sniffing across the Rosenborg half. Here comes Denham trying to step in to win the ball. He does so. Falls kindly for Boyce on the inside left of the Rosenborg half. He doesn't have any help. He's outnumbered 3-1, and Rosenborg take the ball off him with little fuss. Hearts do the same to them though. Now it's with Oda on the right hand side, who's shoved over, and it's a free kick to Hearts just inside the Rosenborg half on the inside right channel.
You think the game plan early on, you'll keep it tight at the back, don't concede. 4 minutes in, you're 1-0 down. They're going to have to, the management team on the far side, they're going to have to rethink.
Hearts have only kept 2 clean sheets at home, Alan, since mid-January. It's a problem.
But it's been a problem for a number of seasons now. And I think since Craig Gordon's gone out as well, they don't really seem to command the box. And I'm not having a go at Xander Clark here, but he's not the same as Craig Gordon was at his best. He would come out and collect. Xander doesn't seem to do that.
The cross has come in for Hearts. It's kept alive at the back post. Denham now gets his head to the ball. Shanklin looking to get there on the edge of the 18. Here's Yoda with a chance. Go off the post. Falls for Kingsley on the edge of the area. And it's just wide. It comes off Kent and deflects for a goal kick. Great effort from Yutara Oda on the right hand side. Tight angle across goal. And if that was a couple of inches to the right, it was nestling inside the corner. It remains 1-0 to Rosenborg.
I mean, he's hit the post, but Boyce is free inside the 6-yard box if he squares it. I mean, he's tried to shoot from a really difficult angle. It's a good effort, but Boyce is tapping the ball in if he plays it in. But what an opportunity to get back into the game really quickly and get the supporters back behind the team.
And even I think Kingsley's shot's going in, and I think that Kent gets in the way of it and knocks it wide.
He's having a nightmare.
Hearts did show they have the ability to recover at the end of last season. In the split, they won 5 points from losing positions. European football on the line this time, though. It's with Rowles midway through the Hearts half. Gives it to Kingsley on the left. He has his arms outstretched, looking for an option. Denham shows, and he gives it to Kent, who's just coming over the halfway line on the right-hand side. Gives it to Oda. Little step over. Infield for Atkinson, who didn't seem prepared for the pass and lets it slip. Young Naipan comes clear now for Rosenborg. He's outnumbered quite quickly, and Hearts win the ball back. A little bit of hunger shown by the team.
Yeah, but they're going to have to go for it now. I was saying at the start of the game, play yourself in, keep it tight. You've got 90 minutes to score a goal. That's gone right out the window after 4 minutes. They really need to get after them now.
Devlin on the right-hand side wins the ball fairly, and it falls for his compatriot Atkinson, who was tripped, sandwiched really, by a couple of white jerseys. The goal scorer Thorvaldsen is the main culprit. So it's a free kick to Hearts around 45 yards out in the middle of the Rosenborg half. And they came pretty close last time from this situation.
This isn't impossible though, Alan, to get a goal.
No, not at all. Craig, 2-1. 2-1 takes us to extra time again. And they're still in the tie. They need to get the next goal. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cochrane, little short run up prepared here. At quite an angle as well to clip this one into the Rosenborg area. Headed clear comfortably by Borkate. Absolutely no one in maroon challenging. And it's thumped away for a Hearts throw midway through the Rosenborg half. You mentioned goals, Alan. Aside from Shanklin, who can score almost at will, depending on service, lost Ginelli. Forrest was the third top scorer last season. He's not playing. Where are the goals coming from?
I was actually having a pint with my friend, and he's a Hibs fan. And when you look at them with Vente and Boyle and Johan and all these lads that Hibs have got, Campbell goes in with goals for the midfield. Hearts don't have that.
Rosenborg are breaking here down the left-hand side. Fredriksson bursts into the box. It's a cross spilled by Clark. Another chance here for Thorvaldsen. It just won't sit for him. And Cammy Devlin wins the free kick on the edge of the 6-yard area. And that's a huge let-off for Xander Clark, because under no pressure, he's pushed that back in front of the Rosenborg striker, who just couldn't take advantage and put it in the back of the net to make it 2-0 to Rosenborg. Hearts look suspect in defence here. It remains 1-0 for the time being. A quick update from Switzerland. In the meantime, Hibs have taken the lead, which puts them 4-1 up. Ellie Yuan.
Just talking about that, you know, the goal scorers that they've got, the threat that Hibs have, that Hearts, if Shankland doesn't score, they struggle.
Well, that's a great position for Hibs to be in now, 4-1 up on aggregate. There's Shankland now through, suddenly one-on-one, chance for Shankland! Lifted over the onrushing goalkeeper. In the blink of an eye, Shankland was through, and he was never going to miss. Hearts have levelled, 17, 12 played, it's 1-1.
What a brilliant finish. I actually thought that he was struggling to actually get his foot wrapped around the ball, but he just flicked it over the top of the goalkeeper. What great composure they showed. But listen, we shouldn't be surprised at that. That's the type of finish that very few strikers can take.
That was brilliant. I thought he was going to go for power, Craig, and it was more finesse more than anything else. It's a lovely finish. I think the keeper thinks as well he's going to smash this, and he just goes down slightly, and it's a little dink over him into the back of the net. We're back in it.
Unbelievable composure shown by Lawrence Shankland, who had the full weight of Tynecastle bearing down on his shoulders there as he raced through on goal. Just clipped it so gently over Hansen, who was left helpless. And what about Shankland's goal-scoring record, Craig? This is his 51st game for Hearts. That's his 31st goal.
That's incredible, isn't it? Not since John Robertson there's been anybody comparable. And you know, he's the complete package. I mean, if he was really quick, he wouldn't be playing here. He'd be in Saudi Arabia as well.
With 3 cars and 5 staff and 24-hour butler.
It's 3 and 4 for Shankland this season now, really picking up from where he left off. And Hearts have responded quickly, less than 10 minutes after losing such a sloppy opener.
And that's a good thing, Andy, is they have responded quickly, because if it had gone into an hour or, you know, still 1-0 down, the fans would have found it difficult to back them, to be honest. But right back in the game, and you can hear this place again. It's absolutely raucous here at Tynecastle.
Rosenborg are passing it around quite nicely though when they're in possession. They've just won a free kick kind of between the 18-yard box and the left-hand touchline, around 40 yards from goal, which will be delivered in by the left-back Pereira.
I think what's interesting as well, Andy, and that's 2 attacks Hearts have had, and I think the Rosenborg defence looks really, really dodgy. I thought Jensen was at fault for the goal. He let Shankland run off him, and that's interesting for me, because Shankland will do that all day long if he gets encouragement. Alan
spoke about Shankland having pace. He'd be a complete player. Was it you, Craig, maybe? But he showed them a clean pair of heels there. And as the cross comes in for Rosenborg, it's bouncing around, thumped clear by Atkinson. Only as far as a white jersey though, and it's sent back in by Anderson, the right back. Hearts deal with it again, and it comes to Yoda, who was just about to nip away from his marker Pereira, and he just steps in his way, sends the Japanese player down, and it's a yellow card for Rosenborg's left back Pereira.
Well, that's the one. If Oda gets up here, I'm sure he will, get at him. Pereira's got a long way to go with Oda one-on-one against him. Yellow card on about 15 minutes in. It's a long way to go for that left back.
Had the stuffing knocked out of him there a little bit, the winger.
I don't know if there are any neutrals in here, but if they are a neutral, it's a pretty good start, isn't it?
Sure. How are they getting a ticket if they're neutrals? None go on sale.
Xander Clark takes the free kick down the throat of the Rosenborg half. It's headed down by Boyce, only into the path of the Rosenborg goalkeeper Hansen. Speaking of Xander Clark, Alan, Craig Gordon back in training now. How do you anticipate that transpiring?
Well, listen, Xander's a very good goalkeeper, but for me, Craig Gordon's probably the best goalkeeper we've produced. Craig gave him his debut against Livingston. I remember I was at Livingston at the time, and it was remarkable to see him, and what he's done in his career is incredible. And even if he comes back from that injury, good on him.
And he was involved the last time Hearts played in the Europa League / UEFA Cup back in 04-05. Played in a group with Feyenoord, Schalke, Basel and Ferencvaros. It's the Conference League up for grabs again this season. It's Clark has the ball midway through his penalty box, thumps it long. Met easily by Borkiet for Rosenborg. Update from Switzerland. Kabak has equalised for Luzern. So that's 1-1 on the night, 4-2 to Hibs on aggregate. Sounds like a thriller for the neutral over there as well. Rosenborg have it on the right-hand side with Holse sweeping across. And it's gone out of play though, easily seen out by Atkinson and Clark between them. That equaliser seems to have shaken Rosenborg a little bit. They're not so assured of themselves in possession anymore.
Yeah, it has shaken them. I think you give Hearts credit, you know, getting back in the game right away is good for them. And thankfully Kent seems to have settled down a little bit as well. You know, I think that the right back area, when there were fire coming in, the right back area is a problem for me. Atkinson wasn't a starter last year. Michael Smith was great. What a service he gave to the club for the years he was here. And I think that bringing someone in just to give Atkinson a little shake-up, because I don't think he's a starter every week for Hearts at right back.
Rosenborg go down the line as Fredriksson, who's gone from the right to the left, tries to chase, but Hearts are swarming all over them, and they're forcing Rosenborg back here as Reitan is forced to play it back to Hansen in the goal. He sends it long. Rosenborg not really a fan of the building from the back approach. Here's Anderson on the right-hand side though, gives it to Holse, who's shown on the halfway line.
I'm not so sure, Andy, they're that confident. You know, they're 8th place in the league. I'm pretty sure they would have expected better than that. And they don't look like a confident side. I mean, they haven't dominated possession at all. The game has been pretty scrappy. It's been a game of mistakes so far.
Craig, what I will say is that there we go, the Norwegian FA let them cancel their game at the weekend to help them play tonight.
Did they?
Yeah.
There's a novel idea, eh?
I wonder if that'll catch on.
Devlin wins the ball for Hearts in midfield, rolls it back to Kent. Gives it to his partner Kai Rolls, now Cochrane. And this isn't the Rosenborg team of 20, 30 years ago that were winning title after title. They won 13 in a row between 92 and 2004. Played in the Champions League as well at the turn of the millennium consistently.
Yeah, they got the quarter-finals one year, did they not?
Yeah, 96 they got to the quarter-finals.
A real pedigree in Europe as a club.
Yeah, sitting mid-table at the moment, although they are on a good run domestically. Rosenborg, they've won their last 4 after a sticky patch.
I think Thorvaldsen's taken his mask off, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's gone to ground here and won a free kick just on the halfway line on the right-hand side. Rosenborg do take it short and just roll it across midfield, right to left. Trying to lull Hearts forwards. Trying to create a bit of space here, the Norwegians. But they're not being fooled, the hosts. Rigid shape forces Rosenborg all the way back, and that clearance from Hansen has gone straight out for a throw-in to Hearts midway through the Rosenborg half on the right-hand side. Hearts have settled, Craig.
Yeah, and I think Rosenborg are a bit nervous. I mean, in that pass there, the latest pass, it just went straight out of play. And it wasn't really a difficult pass to make, so they are nervous as well, I'm sure.
Oda, right-hand side. Infield to Devlin, midway through the Rosenborg half. Curling pass for Kingsley at left-back. Cochrane's there for help on the left-hand side. At number 2-1. And Holse looks to sprint away down the left. Well tackled by Kingsley. Throw in Rosenborg in the halfway line.
I think that's a problem for Cochrane playing left midfield. He doesn't really possess a trick. It's not his natural position as such. The best thing he'd be better doing is knocking it by him and trying to run him, because he's got good pace, and there's maybe 20-30 yards behind the fullback there.
And also you can get a throw-in in those situations as well, where it sticks out a leg or he tracks back and then slides the ball out of play. So at least it's a positive move, isn't it, if he does attempt to take him on.
Clark with a bit of miscontrol in his 6-yard area on his chest, then thumps it long, throw into Rosenborg. Played 21 minutes at Tynecastle. It's 1-1 on the night. It's 3-2 to Rosenborg on aggregate. Lawrence Shankland's wonderful chip equalising 10 minutes after Thorvaldsen gave Rosenborg the lead. Denham wins the ball for Hearts in midfield. Tries to bounce it off Yoda for Boyce. He wins it again and gives it to Denham. Centre circle. Back to Kent. Back to Xander Clark. That's looking for a bit of space to try and work their way through Rosenborg here. Boyce stumbles over the ball in midfield, keeps possession though, gives it to Denham. Long floated ball over to Atkinson at right back. He goes back the way as well to Rawls. Now Kingsley, inside left channel, clips one forward for Shankland. First touch in the box on his right foot. Boyce is arriving, wants to cut in for the shot, then hits the byline. Cross is taking a deflection off a white foot. And that's out for a corner to Hearts on the near side.
Good link-up play with the two strikers there. Shankland, lovely touch in the box, back to Boyce, wins a corner for Hearts. Will they isolate Kent again at the back post, like the last time?
White jerseys outnumbering the maroon ones in the 18-yard box. Rosenborg have only kept one man forward as Cochrane sends the out-swinging delivery in. Kent's there, he's gone down. The referee doesn't look interested. The whole Tynecastle crowd are. And it's gone out for a throw-in on the far side to Rosenborg.
Certainly worth a shout there for me.
Yeah, I mean, there was no attempt to win the ball. It's manhandled. Who was it that was brought down on?
I think it was Kent, yeah.
Yeah, it was manhandled. It was pulled to the ground, wasn't he?
Well, there's no VAR tonight. That comes into effect in the playoff stage. Shankland looks to get things going for Hearts. His pass is intercepted midway through the Rosenborg half. Thorvaldsen is now accused of manhandling Kent, who maybe a tad fortunate there, because if that wasn't given, Thorvaldsen was through on goal 1-on-1. So free kick to Hearts midway through their own half as Clark spins the ball on the turf. 23 minutes played, 1-1 between Hearts and Rosenborg.
Kent needs to pull his socks up. I mean, that's a straightforward header for a centre back, and he's been out muscled again.
Summer arrival from Peterborough. Frankie Kent. Cocker on the left hand side. He's gone down now. That looked like a free kick as well, but not given. The ball's gone out on the near side, and Rosenborg will gladly accept a throw in. They go short, and Hulsa's heading back towards his own byline, and he has to pirouette to clear. Only goes as far as Kent for Hearts, midway through his own half. Now Kingsley on the left hand side. Frankie McAvoy did make the point, Alan, that he's happy with the possession that Hearts are having in games, but he has pointed out they are struggling to create clear-cut chances.
Well, Andy, so far I haven't watched them at St Johnstone, and then on Sunday against Kilmarnock, it was all too pedestrian, it's all very slow. It's all right having possession, it's what you do with it. You know, and you've got to look forward at times. It was very ponderous in both these games. They need to get better, they need to get slicker if they can.
Boyce receives in the centre circle, bounces it for Denham. Had room to drive forward, but gave it to Atkinson on the inside right. Now Oda, back in field for Denham. Little drop of the shoulder to try and get away from Naipan, but he's lost out. And now it's 4-on-4 here as Rosenborg break forward. Naipan, reverse ball for Thorvaldsen, back heel, and it has to be cleared. And it's out for a corner to Rosenborg. Cammy Devlin in the right place at the right time to prevent that from reaching the feet of Fredriksson around 8 yards out. Good defending, good tracking from the Australian, and it remains 1-1.
And it's young Denham giving the ball away there. He's got to keep his head up. You know, it's a little mistake at the edge of at the technical area over the far side. He's got to keep going. You know, good covering by Devlin, as you said. He's back and clearing his lines, but again, Hearts trying to defend set plays is always a worry for me, and it has been for a number of years.
So they're partly zonal and partly man-to-man marking there, Alan.
Yeah.
Again, just to paint a picture, there are 4 Rosenborg players out of the 18-yard area. Everyone is back for Hearts, so they have the advantage in numbers here. Rosenborg have formed a line of players really heading towards the 6-yard area. In it comes, in swinger, headed clear by Rouse. Left-hand side, Rosenborg pick it up again. Pereira looking to find room for a cross, but he's got Shankland in his way. And the Hearts captain picks the ball up and thumps it clear.
Craig, where are you in zonal and man-to-man marking? Where are you?
It just depends. I think to do zonal marking, Alan, you need at least
big guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think Hearts have got that.
No, and that's the thing. I always thought that a running jump will beat a standing jump.
Hence, you need somebody. You need big, strong centre backs. 3 of them spaced along the 6-yard line, and Hearts don't have that.
Rosenborg in possession, knocking it around midway through their own half. Now Reitan, wearing the captain's armband, breaks the lines for Thorvaldsen, who bounces it for Borkate in the midfield. He sprays it left for Fredriksson. He gets the better of Atkinson, and he was looking for the 1-2 with Naipan. He went down. Free kick not given, and now maybe Hearts can transition. Oda down the right-hand side. Borkate breathing down his neck. Oda compelled to turn back in. Shanklin now. First touch is wonderful. Can he cross? Oh, it's a good save. It comes back to Atkinson. Great block by Reitan, the captain. And Rosenborg survive.
I think Shanklin's trying to square it to Boyce, and the defender gets in, and it goes through to the keeper. What a chance.
Alan, I don't think I've seen a game with so many mistakes in it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
incredible.
Rosenborg certainly looking shaky when Hearts decide to put their foot to the floor. Kingsley with the ball for the hosts. Goes left to right to Kent, who's coming forward with a bit of verve. Gives it to Oda, right-hand side. He's isolated Fredriksson again. In comes the cross. Boyce brings it down, trying to find the angle for the shot. And he's been judged to have handled the ball by the referee on the edge of the 18-yard area as he brought it down from Oda's cross. Free kick, Rosenborg.
As much, Alan, as Hearts haven't defended free kicks very well, Rosenborg haven't defended crosses well either. So, I mean, there's Boyce able to bring that down. He's a bit unfortunate to get handball against him, which I didn't think it was. But, I mean, he's in the box. He's got great composure, Boyce. And he just tried to lay it off to Atkinson of a shot.
I honestly think if they can get Oda on the ball, that's where the space is. That's where it can be won or lost.
Well, with Oda playing on the right and Cochrane on the left, it really is obvious where Hearts' main threat is coming from here on the wings.
Well, Oda's the one. He's the more natural wide player as well. Cochrane's the left back that's been asked to push up one, as where Oda is that wide right player who's giving great width on the right-hand side.
Denham's finding a bit of time in the ball for Hearts as well. He has it there, just sprays it over to the right-hand side for Oda, but no way forward this time. How's he getting on as far as you're concerned, Craig? Young Denham in midfield. He's 19 years old.
He's doing what Aidan Denham does. I mean, he's shown great energy and willingness to take the ball. I mean, he's made one mistake, but hasn't hasn't gone into his shell. He's still looking for the ball on every occasion.
Cochrane looking to burst down the left-hand side there, but he was dispossessed. And Kingsley was, I think, trying to manufacture a free kick situation as the ball ricocheted his way. Not given, but Hearts have won the ball back in the halfway line. It really has been all Hearts last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, it has been. They're really going after them now, which is great. They need to try and keep this up if they can, create more chances, get it into the wider areas.
A 2-1 victory for Hearts would take us to extra time. Here's Cochrane with loads of space on the left-hand side now. Cuts it back, it's a poor one, it's cleared. Only as far as Devlin. He's hitting the left-hand byline now. Cuts it to the back post, it's over everyone, it's poor. It's really poor from Cammy Devlin, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side. Remains 1-1.
You want Cochrane to dink it, and he smashes it, and you want Devlin to smash it, and he dinks it.
Wrong choice, eh?
Exactly.
Both of them.
And Cochrane had much more room to drive into before he chose to cross it.
But again, it's another penetration from Hearts, isn't it? So, I mean, the pressure's building.
It's a width, Craig. Honestly, if they can get down Oda and Cochrane, the wider areas, they're really poor. Rosenborg in the full-back areas. What they do is they play really tight as a 4, which allows the wide player of Hearts either side to get on the ball and get up to speed to run at them. There's Oda again. Just knock it by him, run him.
He's dropping deeper to receive the ball as well. Oda didn't work out on this occasion. He's dispossessed. And Rosenborg will come clear now. They have the advantage in numbers. It's 4-on-3. Looking to burst into the box. Naipan, the youngster, wants to cut in on his left. He shoots. It's all the way to the back post, and it squeezes out with a deflection for a corner to Rosenborg.
I think he's going to Denham.
Yeah, Denham has been booked here. He was rather late to a tackle just as Rosenborg looked to break free. Thorvaldsen, who was the recipient of it, is still down on the halfway line, just slowly getting back to his feet, so that's Denham in the book, yellow card. As Rosenborg prepare for the corner on the far side. That was Naipan running through there for the visitors, just 16 years old. Rosenborg's youngest ever player.
The thing is now with Denham, that's his game. His game's being industrious, getting about people, closing people down. They're going to have to watch. It's a long time to go on a booking for a young lad.
And Rosenborg's left back Pereira on a yellow as well. With Oda seeing more and more of the ball, that could really put him in a dangerous situation.
The referee's not seeing this. There's a bit of afters going on in the box.
Yeah, it's Jensen, number 23 for Rosenborg. He was at the back of this man train, waiting for the cross. In swinger, thumped clear by Kai Rolls. Back in again from Pereira. A few white jerseys offside. Kent heads it clear. Second attempt for Hearts. It falls to Boyce on the inside left. He loses out though. And here's a shot at goal from Rosenborg. It's harmless. Just slowly drifts across the turf and out for a goal kick from Borkate. The Hearts fans are letting their team know that they're in a hurry here. Shanklin goes down looking to collect the long ball. No free kick forthcoming. And Rosenborg now trying to manoeuvre their way past the Hearts press on the edge of their own 18. In slides Cochrane. He'll get a yellow card here. Sliding in on right hand, the centre half, as Rosenborg dallied in their own 18. Cochrane couldn't resist the opportunity to snatch the ball. Took man as well. Free kick, yellow card.
He's going to have to settle down, Cochrane. You know, he's had, over his Hearts career, he's had crazy bookings at times, sending off, sitting out a 3-game suspension at the start of the domestic league. You know, and again, what is he now, 90 yards from his goal? Does he have to make that tackle there?
The chances of winning the ball were minimal. You have to measure the risk in these situations pretty quickly, and I just think it was a reckless challenge.
It was last season that it was Grant's decision to dive in the box that cost him. They ended up getting a second yellow, sent off. They lost their chance to go through to the Europa League groups.
Cochrane sent off 3 times last season. That's him in the book now. 34 minutes played. Hearts 1, Rosenborg 1. Rosenborg leading 3-2 on aggregate, as the Hearts fans ironically cheer at the award of a free kick in the favour of their side. For a handball or a push maybe, just on the edge of Xander Clark's 18-yard box. Everyone bunching together in the middle of the Rosenborg half, as Clark sends it towards Boyce, who's on the edge of the Rosenborg area. He nods it down for Oda on the byline. His cutback can't be cleared properly by Jensen. It's out for a throw into Hearts, just about level with the penalty area, or penalty spot on the far side. Atkinson willing an option over to him. Devlin picks it up from him. Atkinson takes it back. No way forward for Hearts. They try to recycle the ball right to left. Here's Rawls on the halfway line. Kingsley now gives it to Denham on the half turn. Kent, right hand side. It's a strange choice. Dreadful passing out for a throw in to Rosenborg, just about level with their 18 on the left hand side.
A couple of disparate straight to bed for Frankie Kent so the night. Huh?
I don't know, honestly. He started the game poorly, and I think he's inside his own head, Alan. You know,
he's got to him.
He's lacking a little bit of confidence for sure.
That is the most foul throw I have ever seen, and it's not been given. Rosenborg will get another chance to throw it into play. They have done. Fredriksson lets it slip from his grasp, and Hearts clear the ball only as far as right hand, the Rosenborg captain. Now Anderson on the right hand side on the touchline, the right back for Rosenborg. Back in field to right hand. Just under 10 minutes to play until half time. Hearts would love to capitalise on this dominance they've had for the last 20 minutes or so. The threat is down the channels. They've hit the byline numerous times. Ironically though, it's a long ball through the middle that brought them their equaliser. Lawrence Shanklin 1-on-1. Picture of composure to chip over the keeper and make it 1-1. Rosenborg in possession, right-hand side. Wonderful ball in the underlap for Anderson. Chance to cross, it's towards the back post. Clark comes and collects. Young Maipan was loitering. Good claim from the Hearts keeper, and he sends it long straight away for Cochrane. His touch looked magnificent, but might have been unintentional. Gives it to Shanklin, who tries the back heel down the line. Straight to a white jersey, and Rosenborg turnover. Hearts resisting the high press. They've been quite interested in putting the Rosenborg defenders under pressure, but they're really making a meal of it themselves here, Rosenborg. Defender to keeper again, and finally they managed to clear. Kent wins that one in the air against Thorvaldsen, and Hearts will break down the inside right with Atkinson. Oda always a willing receiver. He's not prone to forcing the runs down the line, Oda. If it's not on, he'll go back to Kent or Atkinson if necessary.
But you know what he does though, Andy? He goes back to his touchline. He's got the whites of the lines on his boots all the time. He's just great width.
Yes, Kingsley's cross doesn't get past the front post. Jensen was there to clear. It's a corner to Hearts near side.
He was there to clear, but he had no idea where the ball was going. They look very nervous at defending crossing situations.
I think both teams do, Craig, to be honest.
Yeah, the right set pieces for Hearts and crosses for Rosenborg.
Cochrane to deliver from this near side again for Hearts. One hand in the air. Curling away from goal, and it's just taken off the head of Kingsley. Headed clear, picked up by Denham, who'll loft it straight back in. It's not claimed by the goalkeeper. Flapped at it, but the second ball is claimed by Rosenborg, and they eventually send it clear. Thorvaldsen has fouled Denham as he attempted to break clear, though, just bundled into the young midfielder, so that's a free kick to Hearts. Right on the edge of the centre circle in the Rosenborg half.
Keeper came and was nowhere there with that ball that comes in from Denham.
Another mistake.
Former Norwegian international, looking a bit shaky. So a central cross here for Cochrane, who floats this one towards the back stick. Up goes Kingsley, back into the danger area. Can't be headed down by Oda. Rosenborg give it to Kingsley inadvertently, left-hand side. Little step over, looks to wrap in the cross. He does so, good header! Just over the crossbar from Kai Rolls. Wonderful cross from Kingsley, bulleted towards goal, just a fraction too high, and it remains Hearts 1, Rosenborg 1 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate to the Norwegians.
It's coming, Andy. It's coming, I'm sure. I mean, again, the same thing, a ball into the box. I mean, their centre-backs are ball watching, they aren't watching marking men. They're just standing in the one spot, and they're taken by surprise when good quality balls come into the box. And again, a clear header.
Keep saying it, it's the wider areas that Hearts will get the joy tonight. Oda, Kingsley there, what a wonderful ball that was. He just step over, touches it down the line and then whips it. And you're right, Craig, free header for Rolls.
Lovely change of pace from Kingsley on the left-hand side to fashion the chance. Here's Boyce for Hearts now, gives it to Cochrane, cutting in on his weak right foot, shoots, parried, and Rosenborg clear at the first time of asking this time. Anderson, the right back, foot through the ball. And that's a throw into Hearts on the far side. Wow, they're racking up the chances here at Tynecastle. A goal in the next 5 minutes would really electrify this place even more.
Yeah, if we could nick one before half-time, it would be brilliant.
A goal would level it on aggregate for Hearts. And that clearance by Jensen has come off the shin of Boyce, I think, and that's gone out for a throw into Rosenborg on the far side. A bit of respite for them. Just a reminder of what's happening in Switzerland. It's 1-1 between Luzern and Hibs. It's 4-2 to Hibs on aggregate. The winner will play Aston Villa as Rosenborg win a free kick. I actually thought, Craig, the ref had given the foul throw there, but it seems that Hearts have...
Andy, this guy is the worst thrower of a ball I've ever seen in my life. He's like a half-shot penknife when he lets it go.
But it's not the first occasion Pereira has done that, but play was waved on, and in the immediacy of that, Hearts have committed a foul. Allegedly, I think it was Boyce, he was certainly complaining about the decision. Rosenborg now on the halfway line through Reitman. No way forward though. Hearts are proving a tough nut to crack here after a shaky first 5-10 minutes. Kent gets the better of Thorvaldsen this time from the long ball. Denham now picks it up in midfield. Though that's a strange pass from Devlin from right to left. Somehow though Hearts have won it back, and Boyce then gives it straight to Pereira on the left hand side. He was trying to send Oda clear, but instead here comes Fredriksson for Rosenborg, looking to slip it into the path of Nepan. It clips off Atkinson's boot though and rolls through to Xander Clark, who can come and claim with no hassle.
All credit to Boyce there. I mean, he did give the ball away, but he sprinted back as fast as he could to try and make amends.
It's actually great to see him back, Craig. He's a top player, he really is. I felt there he could have rolled the ball up the inside of the full back for Oda instead of trying to play it right to his feet. But you know what, it's brilliant that he's back. He gives Hearts another dimension. It's so great just dropping into the hole, you know, and trying to pick up and set runners off. He's a very good player, very clever.
And he's so composed in the penalty box, isn't he, when he gets an opportunity.
He's returned from his second ruptured ACL, Liam Boyce, as Devlin is sent in behind, but he can't bring it under control with his first touch, and it bounces away for a Rosenborg goal kick. Just a couple of minutes remaining until half-time now.
It's been a very good first half, really enjoyable. A lot of mistakes made, goals scored, chances had as well. You know, it's been good, and again, they still just need to get one more goal, Hearts, in this game, and in the final, 47 minutes is left in it, plus extra time.
And Hearts can still taste the defeat against Zurich last summer in the playoff for the Europa League, a game that they dominated here after losing the first leg 2-1, ended up losing 1-0. Cammy Devlin was quite up front really this week about saying it was on his mind earlier this week. It still bothers him. Chance to make amends this evening and take them to a playoff game for the Conference League against either Hajduk Split or PAOK of Greece. Rosenborg have the ball in their own 18. They seem to now have adopted the play out from the back approach, as Skarsheim picks it up and sends it wide for Anderson. That is well done by Rosenborg to break the Hearts press. Here's Holson out, right hand side, looking for Anderson on the underlap. Well read by Kingsley. Out for a Rosenborg throw. Midway through the Hearts half, they take it quickly. Anderson shown in field by Cochrane. He's happy to go down that route. He sprays it from right to left for Fredriksson, whose crosses into the dangerous area. Only one jersey though to try and take advantage, so Hearts have the numbers to clear. Falls for Nepen though now, 22 yards from goal. Pirouettes, away from one, away from Oda now. No way forward, gives it to Borkheit. His pass is telegraph and easily read by Devlin. He was trying to set Oda up for a counter, but Rosenborg win the ball back. And as one additional minute is added on. Not much time for either side to go and find a goal to put them in the lead at the break. Rosenborg have a throw, left hand side, just level with the Hearts 18. Taken short. Infield now to Holse. He's heading towards the corner flag. He gives it to a teammate on the byline. The cutback has nobody there waiting, and that's why Cochrane can come away down the left hand side. Outnumbered 2-1. Anderson is in his way. Throw into Hearts midway through their own half. Taken really quickly by Kingsley. He actually put Denham in a spot to bother there. He wasn't ready for it. And Rosenborg win the ball back. Skarsheim gives it to Borkheit. Foot in the ball, just periscope up, looking for options. Plays a 1-2 with Holse. Still in the middle of the park for Rosenborg. There's space on the left now for Pereira to receive. He's on the underlap for the 1-2 from Fredriksson. Oda's back and wins the free kick. And that is all there's time for in this first period. Hearts applauded off the pitch by their supporters. They've managed to get back into this tie after such a dreadful start. A really sloppy concession meant they were up against it from almost the first whistle. Thord Valsson scoring on the rebound after a header was initially parried by Xander Clark, but not long after that, Lauren Shankland, who else, drew them level on the night and brought them back to within one on aggregate. A superb chip over Hansen in the Rosenborg goal. And since then, it's not quite been one-way traffic, but Hearts have certainly been the more dominant side. They've threatened, they've had chances, they've missed chances, and at the break, it's Hearts 1, Rosenborg 1.
Following Scotland's teams in Europe.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
He slides it home.
It has been a breathless, adrenaline-filled first half at Tynecastle, and the story of the night is still to be written. It's in the balance, but Hearts coming on strong there towards the end of the first half. They do know, Hearts now, who will they be playing next week if they can make it through. It was between the Greek side PAOK or the Croatians Hajduk Split, and this evening in northern Greece, PAOK have seen off the Croatians 3-0, goals from Stefan Schwab from the penalty spot, and the Serbian international winger Andrija Zivkovic with 2 goals in the 79th and 85th minute. So it's PAOK who will be playing Hearts or Rosenborg for a place in the Europa Conference League next week if, and it remains a big if, Hearts can get past Rosenborg. We will be crossing to Switzerland very soon, where it is coming to the end of the first half between Luzern and Hibernian. As you might remember, it was 3-1 at Easter Road in the first leg last week. And it's been a very interesting half. It has just come to an end, the first half in Luzern. So let's cross straight away to our man there watching, Rory Loy.
Yes, indeed, Jonathan. It's half-time, and it's been 100 miles an hour from the word go here in Luzern, which is, have to say, has probably suited Luzern more than it has Hibs, although Hibs did strike first. It's 1 each as it stands at the moment. Hibs still have a 2-goal advantage on aggregate. The action started within the first minute when Boyle clashed with Friday in the box after a poor clearance from the goalkeeper Loretz. However, the free kick did go the other way, so it went in favour of Luzern. For half a second I thought Hibs may have had a penalty claim, however the referee thought otherwise. In the 9th minute, the opener came through Eli Johan. Club captain Max Meyer, former German international, slipped in the middle of the pitch. Johan took advantage, he ran right at the heart of the Luzern defence and he cut onto his right foot from the left hand side of the box, and his curled effort deflected over the head of Loretz in the net, and Hibs found themselves 1-0 up. On the 16th minute, it was all square. Kadak scored at the second attempt. The first was a low shot, which was really well saved by Marshall, who's been impressive tonight. Commanded his area, took crosses and made a couple of good saves. However, that save, the ball did land at the feet of Villager, whose cross was turned in by Jacob Kadak for 1 each. On the 21st minute, Lewis Stevenson's clearance in the box looked to strike the hand of Paul Hanlon. Home crowd wanted a penalty, however the Greek referee waved play on. I was slightly relieved, as it did look to have struck the hand of Paul Hanlon, but no penalty given. Newell's wide free kick on 22 minutes landed right on the head of Paul Hanlon, who headed over from 7 yards. It was a huge opportunity, and you wanted it to fall to one of your centre backs. However, he couldn't direct his shot on target. 10 minutes later on 32, Boyle took a magnificent touch on the halfway line, effectively putting himself through on goal. However, he was muscled out near the edge of the box and lost balance. He felt it was a free kick. However, I do have to agree with the referee on this occasion. I didn't think there was enough in it for a foul. It is 1 each at half time, and I must say, Jonathan, it has been 100 miles an hour. Hibs are trying their very, very best to take the sting out of the game, to slow things down, but Luzern just keep coming back and back and back. Hibs have been good. They've been good on the counter-attack, and they've been a threat, and they could have scored more themselves. They have looked a little bit desperate in defence at times, I must say. Marshall has been very good, and he's going to need to continue to be very good if they are to get through this tie.
Great stuff, Rory. Thanks very much for the moment. Looking good for Hibs in Switzerland. As it stands, 1-1 at half-time, 4-2 to Hibs on aggregate. Let's head back to Tynecastle, where it's 1-1 on the night. Hearts still in need of another goal if they're going to take it to extra time. A good news story on the way at half-time, though, courtesy of our man Brian McLaughlin, who's been joined by Craig Gordon.
Yeah, Craig, first of all, what was your take on that pulsating 45 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, breathless first half. Lots in it for both teams, really. Chances at both ends, and yeah, very entertaining for everybody that's turned up here tonight.
In terms of what the manager was saying at the moment, what's going to be required to cut open this Rosenborg defence in the second half?
I think maybe just a little bit more control. We've had it at stages in the first half, but just that calmness on the ball to pick the defence apart. I think we've maybe been a little bit too frantic, and the ball's been turned over a little bit too much. But seen towards the end of the first half, we've got a little bit more control, and I think it's going to be more of that required in the second half to get a grip of the game.
How big a part will this crowd play in the second period? The longer it goes at 1-1, you can only feel that the atmosphere will increase.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a great night for them. It's got the makings of that. I think we're right in it. We're where we want it to be going into the second half. But yeah, we've got a big chance. If they get right behind us, you saw in the first leg that we grew into the game. The longer it went, the stronger we got. And if we can do that here tonight with this crowd behind us, I think we've got a great chance.
In terms of yourself, I've been having a look at some social media clips recently. You've been back on the training ground diving. How are you? And when do you think we'll see you back out here once again?
Not sure. Still got a little bit to go. Although these clips have been spaced apart, it's not every day that I manage to get out on the training field. So, yeah, I just have to continue improving upon that. But, yeah, hopefully not too long.
In terms, have you put a time scale on it? Possibly October, something like that?
Yeah, not really. If I'm back in and about the squad by then, that would be great. If I can do it sooner, even better. But, yeah, I'm just kind of taking it day by day at the moment. And, yeah, once I'm able to get out there a little bit more often, I'll kind of have an idea of where I can get back from there.
No, you're a dreamer. Do you dream of the Euros next year for Scotland? That would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Of course, I think every player would. Coming back from something like I'm trying to do at the moment, it's definitely a dream. But yeah, so much hard work to go between now and then, but I'll certainly give it my best shot.
Appreciate it. Great to see you back once again, Craig. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Great stuff. Craig Gordon might not have a timeline, Lee McCulloch, but Brian McLaughlin certainly does have a timeline for Craig, and it's October by the sounds of things. Let's hope we see Craig Gordon back between the sticks for Hearts before too long, but Zander Clark's doing a fine job at the moment in his stead. First things first, Lee, what's your take on that Hearts first half? It flew by, didn't it?
It did. It certainly is a good game for the neutral. I think Hearts in the first couple of minutes started well. They got a corner, got the crowd with them. Then only 4 minutes into the game, silly foul, and then it's the set play debate again. And the boys are touching on it. Yes, Hearts have not had a good record with defensive set plays, but it's not as if they're a team that hasn't got presence. I think it just comes from desire to go and head the ball. When you're looking at boys, Shanklin, Kent, Rowles, Kingsley, they're all more than capable to go and head the ball, but there must be some sort of mentality, or certainly going forward, it's a desire to go and head the ball, and I don't think the boys have had that for some time now. Kent's not really had the best of half.
No, he's not,
should we say, and the crowd turned a little bit after the goal, and the boys found it difficult, but then Oda had a great shot, possibly should have squared it to Boyce. And then right after that the goal came, and what a goal it was. Shanks anticipating.
Yeah.
Everybody says he's not got that pace, but when the first couple of yards are in your head, he anticipated it well, and then 1-1 with the goalie, the composure to finish, and that's just what Lauren Shanklin does. The composure in front of goal, the goals he scored, and then after that Hearts started gaining some momentum, and I actually think Rosenborg looked, I'm with the boys, I think Rosenborg looked really nervous. I think we need to get the ball out to Oda, where Pereira's already been booked. He's looked a threat. And the only other thing I would say is definitely get crosses in the box. The goalkeeper doesn't even look assured. But would you consider swapping Kingsley for Cochrane and putting Cochrane back to left back, even although he's been booked? Because I think Kingsley gives better delivery in the forward areas, but certainly for me the goal for Hearts is coming.
Interesting thoughts there, Lee McCulloch. Let's cross back to Tynecastle right now, because it looks like there might be a change on the cards for the home side. Let's get back to Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, there is a change going to be made. Yutara Oda, I know that Stephen Naismith in particular wasn't very happy at all with Oda's performance in that 45 minutes, so he's being replaced. Barry Mackay is going to be the player coming on. And one other thing, Jonathan, just about 5 minutes before the end of that half, things got a little bit heated, I would have to say, between the two technical areas, Stephen Naismith and the rest of the backroom team at Hearts were out, as were the backroom team for Rosenborg, and the officials tonight, all from Israel, and the fourth official, Niall Oda, called forward Paul Gallagher and told him if Stephen Naismith comes out once again, he's going to be yellow carded. So Stephen Naismith, I wouldn't expect him to see too much of Stephen Naismith in the second half off his seat. Of course, he's a technical director, technically, I suppose. Frankie McAvoy is the head coach. But yeah, he's got a warning from the official, Niall Oda, the fourth official, that if he comes off his seat in the second half, then he's going to be booked.
Stephen Naismith, a marked man. Referees have been told to clamp down on too many people in the technical area voicing their opinions all at once, so that is one to keep an eye on. How surprised, Lee McCulloch, are you by that news Brian has just brought us, that Utara Oda is being brought off for Barry Mackay? Because he has been lively, Oda. He hit the post. He perhaps should have squared it for that opportunity, but he's looked like a menace to the Rosenborg defence, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has, and he's worked back the pitch as well, followed his runners, helped out Nathaniel Atkinson. The only thing I can think of is fresh legs, Barry Mackay's pace. With Pereira being booked, they might see that as an opportunity. Just give Barry the ball and tell him to go and run at him, and who knows, Barry's not at the best of pre-seasons regarding fitness-wise. I think he's picked up, had an ankle operation. So it's minutes for him. I would say Barry Mackay is a better player than Utaro Oda, in my opinion. So I think it's obviously got something to do with Pereira being booked.
Very interesting. I wonder if Alan Preston and Craig Levine are still with us at half-time. They'll deserve a rest after that breathless first half. But yeah, if I can just put that same question to you. Brian McLaughlin's brought us news of the change, or the impending change, with Oda coming off for Barry Mackay. First to you, Craig Levine, your thoughts?
Well, Alan and I were just sort of discussing it. Yeah, I think Oda's done okay in the first half, and I mean, he certainly, once the left back's booked, and then if you get the ball to him and get him running at him and get him on the back foot, and maybe he makes a mistake and gets sent off. And I mean, I was speaking to Andy there just a second ago about Mackay. Mackay's tends to play on the left hand side and prefers to come in onto his right foot, but I don't know how that would work with Cochrane and Kingsley on the left. So maybe Lee would have a better idea. Would Barry come in and play on the right hand side?
I just can't think of anyone that would play on the right hand side, because you're spot on what you're saying. Kingsley, Cochrane, definitely not. Barry prefers, he actually doesn't like the right hand side, so maybe the manager has just asked him to stay wide, get the ball and just go and take him on and use his pace, because there's nobody really else. You can't put Boise out wide unless you get back to a back three of Kent, Rouse and Kingsley, and no, still not for me.
Alan, the first half. The second half just about to get underway. I just wanted to get a quick word from Alan about what you want to see from Hearts now in the second half. It's a shame almost that the first half came to an end, because momentum is building.
Exactly that, Jonathan. Keep it going. The momentum was building. They had chances. The Rowell's header, they hit the post, a couple of other chances as well. They've played well after a shaky first 5-6 minutes, and they just need to do more of the same. I think this team can be got at. 45 minutes to get a goal. If it takes extra time and penalties, so be it. But there is an opportunity here for Hearts to get through the next round. They have to be cautious. Cochrane and Denham being yellow carded, two young lads, have to be very, very cautious in their approach in the second half. And it'll be interesting to see where Mackay plays first and foremost.
Craig, do you think this Rosenborg side are there for the taking now for Hearts?
I do. Yeah, I do. And there's quite a lot of evidence in that first half that they're nervous for sure. And I mean, the goalkeeper's nervous, the left centre-back's nervous. I mean, I think Thorvaldsen's a really good player, the main striker. I like him, but I think of the two managers, I think Frankie Naismith will be the more happy.
A perfect way to end half-time. Craig Levine, thank you very much. We'll hear more from Lee McCulloch at the full-time whistle. It could go to extra time and penalties, of course, but we shall see. in Switzerland. It is currently Luzerne 1, Hibs 1 on the night, 4-2 on aggregate. We'll continue to bring you updates as it happens from Luzerne, but it's all about to get underway once again at Tynecastle. As Brian McLaughlin told us, Barry Mackay is entering the fray in place of Yutaro Oda. How will that change things in this second half? We're about to find out. Let's get back to your match commentator now, Andy Burge.
Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, confirmation of the change as Barry Mackay hops, skips and jumps onto the park, and he is heading over to the right hand side. So yeah, interesting to see what Barry Mackay's approach is going to be. As Lee mentions, he's so well known for starting on the left and drifting infield.
I'm just wondering, Andy, Craig, if it's his trickery with Pereira being booked. You think it's his body movement, because he's brilliant technically when, you know, he can body swerve by players, and maybe that's something that they're looking at if they weren't happy with Oda, which I'm surprised at.
He's actually cute as well, isn't he? You know, so he could draw another foul out of Pereira.
Just back to fitness. Barry Mackay underwent a little procedure on his ankle at the end of the season. Hasn't played in either of Hearts' 2 league games or the first leg against Rosenborg, so his first 45 minutes of the season here. As Rosenborg have a throw in on the right hand side. The return pass is loose though and out for a Hearts goal kick. Hearts looking for progression to play PAOK in the Conference League playoff. They have seen off Hajduk Split quite comfortably, 3-0 on the night, 3-0 on aggregate. So if Hearts are going to do this, a little trip to Greece inbound. The Hearts have never progressed in Europe after drawing on aggregate, so maybe they'll have to break a pattern this evening if they can find a goal here to take it into extra time. As Barry Mackay gets his first few touches on the halfway line, right hand side, looking for the run of Atkinson, but it's blocked and out for a Hearts throw in quite easily by Fredriksson. Actually, come to think of the Mackay situation, Rosenborg did the same in the first half, because Holsa, the number 10 who's playing on the right now, is left-footed and started on the left. Fredriksson, the number 14, is playing on the left. He's right-footed and started on that side, and they switched them over midway through the first half, maybe trying to get them to cut in a little bit more. As Barry Mackay crosses from deep, it's towards Cochrane at the back post, headed up but not really away. Devlin's picked it up, edge of the D. He goes back for Denham. He crosses towards Mackay, who tries to just put it down for Shankland, who was arriving edge of the 6-yard area. Well read by Hansen though. And Hearts' first attack of the second half comes to nothing. 2 minutes of it played. It remains 1-1.
A really promising attack, and it was a great spot by young Denham to find Barry at the back post. And I'm pretty sure, Alan, that he was trying to square the ball across the face of the goal, but he just didn't manage to pull it off.
I wonder if a match fit Barry Mackay, you know, for him it's a difficult skill, but you know, the ability he's got, it should have been quite easy for him just to knock it across the goal.
Here he is again, Mackay, just on the halfway line, no way forward, gives it back to Kent. He's looking to angle one down the middle here for Cochrane, who's inverted his run onto the head of Jensen though. But the cross, or the clearance, is smothered. Chance for Shankland to shoot, it's blocked. And it's going to go away from the goal as far as Hearts are concerned. Shankland with half a sight of it from the edge of the 18. Really good block though by Ritan. And now Rosenborg will come clear down the right hand side. Starsson looking to play the 1-2 with Anderson. He gives it to Holsa instead. Boyce slides in. Did he win the ball? Referee says yes. Thorvaldsen now forced wide to Skarsheim again, who's looking to hit the byline for Rosenborg. Chops in on his left. Ball across. Is it going to go over the line? Almost the most calamitous own goal you've ever seen, but prevented by Atkinson at the last moment. Took about 2 or 3 deflections before bouncing towards the Hearts goal with no Rosenborg player near it, and Atkinson had to turn on the turbo to get there in time and send it clear. Hearts survive a huge scare at the start of the second half. Still 1-1.
That's a massive let-off, it really is. Don't know what it just comes flashing across. Clark's nowhere again, you know, and then it just drops, and they're lucky that Atkinson gets back.
Well, if we manage to get our breath back over the 15 minutes at half-time, we might be about to lose it again, because this has been a rapid start to proceedings. That ball is intercepted by Mackay in the middle of the park. He's driving forward now. We've got Cochrane there in the underlap. His pass is intercepted, falls to Shanklin, gives it to Boyce, edge of the box, takes a touch, shoots, great save, chance on the rebound, goal! Cammy Devlin scores! Thumped in on the rebound, 8 yards out, in off the crossbar. The perfect start to the second half, and Hearts now really have this game by the throat. They're 1 goal from the playoffs. It's 2-1.
Yeah, well, brilliant play by Boyce. I mean, the composure he showed in the penalty box was fantastic. Gets the shot away, bounces out to Cammy Devlin. My heart was in my mouth, Andy. I didn't know if Cammy would be able to force that ball home, but all credit to him, he's managed to get it off the underside of the bar and into the back of the net, and Hearts fully deserve to be in front in this game.
I don't know if he's ever hit a ball harder in his life, Cammy Devlin. Great save from Hansen to parry Boyce's shot to the left. Devlin came crashing in and smashed the ball home from the edge of the 6-yard area, in off the crossbar. He almost split it in two. And that really has set off the Hearts fans here. Perfect start to the second half. Hearts 2-1 in front, Alan.
What about it? We've touched on it in the first half about Boyce. You know, you think, is he going to panic? Nah, no chance. Gets it on his left foot and then smashes the ball. It's a great save, you've got to say. Falls to Devlin and you're thinking, who's it going to fall to? Anyone but Devlin. He's not a goal scorer. But he lashed it into the back of the net. You just need to compose themselves now for the next few minutes. You know, the fans are behind them, they're ready to go. But again, wonderful play by Boyce. Just sheer composure at the edge of the box. The way he goes about it, they're waiting on the flare on the far side, going out. But that's why the game's not started. But it's just incredible stuff from Boyce. Everyone else is running about and putting in tackles, and he just shows a bit of composure, touch of class, and they're back in the game.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, all credit to Cammy Devlin. What is he doing there? I mean, seriously, you'd expect him to be back in the play-up, wouldn't you? 10 yards outside the box, but he's found himself right in the front line. The keeper's made a great save, and he's first onto it, and shows good composure and just puts the ball in off the underside of the bar. And this is game on now, Alan.
Yes, you can hear this place. What a racket.
Well, he was talking this week, Cammy Devlin, that he'd been thinking about the Zurich game last summer. In an interview with BBC Scotland, where he was joking about still getting to grips with some of the Scottish slang. Well, he couldn't miss that one. 6 yards from goal. He did his best to win off the crossbar. Well, wonderful moment for him and for Hearts. And Rosenborg, really a question asked of them now. They started on fire this evening, with a little bit of help from the Hearts defence, but it's been all Hearts since then. Rosenborg on the left-hand side with Fredriksson. No way forwards. I tell you, we talk about Barry Mackay wanting to drift in from the left-hand side. That move started with Mackay on the right-hand side, drifting on his left, which eventually foraged the chance for Hearts. We'll come back to that in a second, because here's Rosenborg down the left with Naipan looking to hit the byline. He's not kept it in play. That's a goal kick to Hearts. Well marshalled by, I think it was goal scorer Devlin.
Yeah, it was Devlin.
What they've got to watch though, Craig, is there's not an overlap on this side on Atkinson, because Mackay, you know, he's not the best going back the park. And there,
that's a risk.
He let the man run off him there, and Atkinson was 2-on-1. He had to get help from Devlin.
Yeah, Devlin's quite willing to do the work. I mean, I don't know how fit he is, Alan. Is he up to speed yet, you think?
Yeah, he's been playing the games. Yeah.
The Rosenborg interim manager, Svein Malen, said he expected a bit of a cauldron in Edinburgh tonight. Well, he's face to face with it now. Non-stop noise for the last couple of minutes after a shell-shocking start for Hearts, where the home crowd were silenced. 53 played. It's 2-1 on the night to Hearts. 3-3 on aggregate. Here's Kent bringing it over the halfway line, gives it to Mackay, whose cross is deep. It's too high over the crossbar as Hansen looked to cover his top corner.
It was a bad cross or a...
We'll go for a... I think we'll go for a bad cross there.
Rosenborg with the ball, right hand side. Holse being forced back towards his own goal by Kingsley, who looks to have maybe changed positions with Cochrane, as Lee McCulloch discussed at half-time. Kingsley certainly the one that's starting higher in the Hearts press now, with Cochrane right in line with the back four.
It looks that way, but if there's a break in play, we'll find out if they go back and switch positions.
Borkite picks the ball up in midfield for Rosenborg, gives it to Thorvaldsen, who's looking to break into the Hearts penalty area. They have to be careful here. Devlin wins the ball cleanly and fairly, and Cochrane sends it clear. He's caught late by Thorvaldsen, who
surely the assistant can see
is
that.
having a little word here, standing over Cochrane like a boxer who's just knocked out his opponent. It was just really a bit of a barge into the young English left back, but nothing doing really for linesman or referee. And Rosenborg, as play went on, have gone on and won a central free kick, which they've crossed towards the far post, although maybe the referee just evening things up a little bit there, as Fredriksson is penalised for coming together with Atkinson, as Clark came to claim the ball. 55 played, 2-1 Hearts.
Yeah, the Cochrane-Kingsley situation, it was just because the move had happened that Cochrane was deeper than Kingsley, so they've now went back to their normal position.
Sander Clark launches the ball down the Rosenborg half. Boyce can't latch onto it. Jensen, the left centre half, gives it to Pereira, the left back, whose long ball is aimless and picked up by Kent. Hasn't really been isolated yet, Alan, in the second half since Mackay came on. Pereira, who's on a booking.
Yeah, not yet. You know, there's still time. They can get the ball to Mackay.
Atkinson on the ball for Hearts midway through his own half. It's a poor attempt at a switch though. Picked up by Borkite for Rosenborg in the centre circle. Ball forward for Fredriksson. Central pass for Thorvaldsen. He was trying to lay one off. First time of asking for 16-year-old Nepan. He was advancing, trying to break the lines, but the pass went straight out for throw into Hearts midway through their own half. Atkinson to take. Down the line, claimed by Rosenborg, and they go back to their goalkeeper Hansen. Hearts have been knocked out of the Europa League playoffs 3 times against Dinamo Zagreb, Spurs and Liverpool, looking to get to the Conference League playoffs for the first time after its recent inception. PAOK of Greece lying wait now. Well intercepted by Barry Mackay as Fredriksson tried to play one in field. He goes long looking for Shankland. He's outnumbered 2-1, trying to get the better of his marker. Edge of the 18-yard box. Looks to clip one in for Boyce. It's just behind him, as he was the man running onto it. And Rosenborg are able to clear. And they stay composed in midfield as well. Holse gives it to Nepan, who sprays one wonderfully over to the right-hand side as well. Rosenborg now breaking into the Hearts box on the right-hand side. Good tackle from Kai Rolls, dispossessing the right winger for Rosenborg. And he still has it on the left-hand side. Strange situation there with Kai Rolls and Atkinson exchanging passes in the left wing position.
I know, you're right back in your left centre half playing 1-2s in the middle of the park.
We'll go to Brian McLaughlin though, because there's a change coming for Rosenborg.
Yeah, 58 minutes on the clock. Ollis Skarsson, who started this evening, he was the replacement, of course, from last week. He is being replaced. Number 28, Rasmus Witzelm, and Paul is the player coming on for the last half hour or so.
Well, he's coming into a fiery atmosphere. Venus St. Paul. Hearts fans haven't let their voices drop since that second goal from Cammy Devlin went in. Really has the feel of an evening game now, with the sun having pretty much fully set. Great atmosphere inside Tynecastle. Sprint to Rosenborg midway through their own half, right-hand side. Won by Hearts, and it's sent forward for Shankland, who's trying to get the better of his opposing captain Ritan. His clearance is more up than away, brought down by Boyce, who's giving it to Shankland, who can't get round his marker. Well claimed by Hansen in the end. And here's Nepan bringing it clear for Rosenborg. Lovely Cruyff turn to get away from Denham. Here's Holset, left hand side, gives it to the substitute Vienensen Paul. Byline chops in on his right foot, clipped back into the box now by Holset. Nobody there in white to take it, and Xander Clark comes and claims rather comfortably, just approaching the hour mark now at Tynecastle. Still 2-1 to Hearts.
He needs to just calm down. Xander Clark, you know, if he looks up, he's trying to take it quick. Shankland's 1v3, he's no chance. Just needs to take his time. He threw a couple out on Sunday against Kilmarnock and gave the ball away needlessly.
Hearts cry for handball on the far side. Fredriksson judged to have done nothing illegal. His team still have possession though. They're doing their best to lose it. Hearts doing their best not to win it, as Nepan once again comes clear through the middle of the park. He's got loads of space to run into the youngster. Drifts onto his right foot. Can't get past Kent on the edge of the D. Comes to Fredriksson now, around 30 yards out. Deep cross. Xander Clark says leave it. Out for a goal kick to the hosts. Rosenborg's attack's coming to nothing, Craig.
The game's really opened up, hasn't it? And those end-to-end stuff. And as up to this point, it's been really mostly been mistakes that have led to chances. And I feel that the team who makes the next mistake could suffer and find themselves in trouble.
Rosenborg just seem to be getting a bit more joy in the middle of the park, Craig. There's a bit more coming from them. I think that change.
Expertly brought down by Boyce from Clark's goal kick, but his layoff to Cochrane was misread. And Boyce slaps his thighs in frustration. His team have won the ball back though. And Atkinson gives it to Barry Mackay, who immediately is urged forward. Drifts in right to left. Pass one, pass two. Can't get past the third though on the edge of the D. The clearance falls to Denham, who looks like he was thinking about the shot. Looking to break forward. He's clipped by fellow youngster Nepan. Free kick to Hearts, around 25 yards out on the inside right.
This is perfect scenario for Kingsley. It's brilliantly set up for a left footer. Maybe a bit far out.
Yeah, I think it might be. I hope I'm wrong, Alan, but it looks closer to sort of, what do you think, nearly 30 yards out?
Yeah, it'll be that anyway, Craig.
It was one of the main really arguments for Kingsley being in the Scotland squad over the last few years, is that we don't really have an expert free kick taker in the national ranks, but Kingsley certainly is one of them. 25 yards out or so here. Scored 8 goals for Hearts a couple of seasons ago. An injury interrupted season last term left him with none to his name, and he's slowly pacing backwards here with intent. Barry Mackay also on the scene. Would guess that that's a bit of smoke and mirrors for Hearts, because this is Kingsley territory. Couple of deep breaths. Tynecastle waits. Kingsley takes. It's dreadful. Into the wall. Comes back to him and he lobs it in with his right foot now. All the way through to Hansen. And there's a free kick awarded to Rosenborg anyway, as Kent's bundled over his marker in the box. And they gave it the big build-up, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't enough pace in the ball, even if I had cleared the wall for him to put it in the back of the net.
62 played at Tynecastle. 2-1 to Hearts. It's going to extra time as it stands. Borkite in midfield for Rosenborg. Gives it to Fredriksson, who's forced all the way back. Nepan picks it up on the halfway line. And Pereira, the man on the booking for Rosenborg, who's had a pretty comfortable second half so far. Looks to receive the return pass, but it's headed away for a throw-in by Barry Mackay midway through the Hearts half, and that gives us a chance to go to Brian McLaughlin. Hearts change?
Yeah, there is going to be a change here. Alan Forrest is the player coming off. He's just actually been told to sit back down inside the dugout once again. And it looks also as if there could be another change as well coming as well. Come back in a second, Andrew.
Andrew, Sunday name. Thanks, Brian.
I was going to say that.
Rosenborg take the throw-in down the left-hand side. And it's won by Pereira, but 50-50 duel with Kent's. Comes off for the Hearts defender. Thumped clear to the halfway line. All the way back to Hansen now. Interesting if Alan Forrest does come on, because he was one of the three identified by Rosenborg's manager Svein Malin as a main danger for Hearts, along with Oda and Shankland. Oda subbed off at half-time for Barry Mackay. There's Reitan for Rosenborg, the captain, on the halfway line. Quick pass out to Fredriksson on the right-hand side. Hearts are eager here to win the ball back, and they've won a free kick. Denham taking a sore one in the process.
I think he's got cramp.
Brian, I can see 2 maroon jerseys getting ready. What's the story?
Yeah, the players coming off will be, not surprisingly, Aidan Denham. It looks as if he really has tired in the last 5 minutes or so. Liam Boyce, rather surprisingly, will be the other player coming off. Coming on, Alan Forrest, the first outing here at Tynecastle for a Japanese striker, Suki Tagawa, who will be coming on for the last 25 minutes or so. He made his debut at St McDermott Park, came on as a sub that day. He's coming on as a sub. This is his first game though at Tynecastle.
And you can hear the appreciation that Denham is getting as he slowly walks off the park.
He's been very good, young Denham, as has Boyce. Boyce has been excellent, and I think that's a precaution more than anything. The amount he's been out almost a year, you know, and he's been brilliant. That composure he showed for that second goal.
On comes Tagawa, preceded by Alan Forrest, who scored in the Conference League group stages last season against Riga.
So what's going to happen now is Forrest will come to the right, Mackay's back on his more familiar left-hand side, and it's Cochrane that will be inside to play with Devlin.
2 up front, Alan, or is Shankland a bit deeper?
But slightly deeper.
And Cochrane, after moving into centre mid, gets his first touch, heads it out wide for Mackay. Kingsley with the chance to cross, it's great! Headed clear at the front post by Jensen. Over towards the corner flag, one back by Hearts. And Fredriksson claims the ball and wins a throw-in from Mackay. Wonderful pace on Kingsley's delivery, and if it wasn't clear at the front post, I think it was Forrest loitering just behind Jensen, who would have had a clear shot or head at it. And Rosenborg gained some yardage with the throw-in. Another one.
Alan, have you seen much of Tagawa?
Yeah, he came on up at St Johnstone. He should have scored actually, Craig. He was through and he hit a first-time shot. And then I watched him again at the weekend, and he wasn't particularly good in his home debut. But, you know, he's got pace. He's the one that leads the line, and it'll be great. Shankland is the one that will drop off him.
Yeah, good.
Long-term deal for Tagawa until 2027. Not his first taste of football in Europe. He played for Santa Clara in Portugal for 6 months on loan from FC Tokyo. Rosenborg in possession as Pereira carries the ball across the halfway line, rolls it back to Reitan. He's begging for an option on the right-hand side. His pass was easily read by Cochrane. He tried to find Mackay, but gave it straight back to a white jersey. Here's Fredriksson now for Rosenborg, cutting in on his left foot, crosses towards the far post looking for Vidarsson Paul, but Hearts are able to clear through Devlin. Tagawa not able to latch onto it though, and Rosenborg will come again. Atkinson in the way initially. Pereira heads the ball down now into midfield, but it's picked up by Forrest. And Kent wastes no time, just says get that away from our box. All the way back to Hansen in the Rosenborg goal, under pressure from Tagawa. A split second too slow from the action. Cammy Devlin is hobbling back into his central midfield habitat. A hand on his right knee.
I think it's maybe a dead leg he got.
Yeah. Maybe a sore one tomorrow.
No, he's jogging again pretty freely now, trying to match Nipam, who is bursting forward from midfield as Rosenborg just take it easy along the halfway line, left to right. Fredriksson being forced back now all the way to Hansen. The only player in the Rosenborg lineup over the age of 30. It really is a young team that the Norwegians have put out this evening. Average age of 23 at kick-off. Update from Switzerland. Luzern have scored 2-1 to them on the night. That means Hibs are still in front on aggregate 4-3. Intense moments in Switzerland. Adeni, the scorer for Luzern. Tense moments at Tynecastle as well, because if Rosenborg score 1, that's them heading through as it would stand. It's level on aggregate 3-3 at the moment. 2-1 to Hearts on the night. Pereira on the left-hand side for Rosenborg. Deep cross. Picked up over near the corner flag by Fredriksson. Left-footed in-swinger over everybody. And Pereira will do well to claim that. But he's left-footed and his touch with his right foot wasn't good enough, and out for a goal kick to Hearts.
I don't think Devlin can continue. I think he's toiling, I really do. They're going to have to do something about it. They're in discussions over the far side. He's hobbling away there. You know, you've got Halliday, you've got, I think it's Grant's got there as well. You know, they've got guys that can come in and play in there. He's really toiling.
Would you take him off now or give him another 2 or 3?
I would take, he's waving to the dugout, but take the decision out of his hands. He's struggling to walk.
Ball down the middle from Xander Clark. 2 Rosenborg heads going for it, and Pereira and Jensen. So that's a little mix-up. Throw to Hearts midway through the Rosenborg half. Atkinson looks for an option. Alan Forrest moved, but the throw was out his grasp. Cochrane went for the loose ball. He didn't win it, and apparently Rosenborg have won it fairly. So they break through the middle of the park now. Viren St. Paul on the right-hand side, cutting in. Shot at goal, cleared. Only as far as Barry Mackay. Rosenborg not making the most of the turnover. Mackay gliding down the inside left. Cutting in field, losing possession. And Rosenborg now have it. Right-hand side with Andersen. Thorvaldsen, 1-2 with Fredriksson. This is wonderful from the Norwegians, but that pass just had a bit too much juice on it. And the attack breaks down just when it looked like it might start to get threatening on the right-hand side, Craig.
I can't call this, Andy. I don't know which way it's going to go.
I just think, Craig, that in the middle of the park they're getting more joy, they're getting more bodies forward. One of their players has gone down injured. But I think Hearts are very open to the counter-attack.
Well, you've got 4 forwards on the field there, haven't you? Really. So I mean, it looks like Hearts are trying to win the game in normal time. That's what it looks like, but they could easily lose it as well.
Yeah. So we say that Devlin is struggling with an unknown injury. Is Nathaniel Atkinson okay as well, Brian?
Yeah, it looks like Atkinson's actually got a little bit of a groin strain. He was coming across there. He was down on his knees holding, that area. And he just didn't look too comfortable, but he's staying on. Cammy Devlin's over here as well, getting some well-needed lubrication, I would say, after that goal as well. Now, whether he can continue for the next 20 minutes and possibly extra time, I'm not sure. Andy Halliday is out warming up at the moment, so I would suspect if anybody was going to come on for Devlin, I would say it would be Andy Halliday.
The player down for Rosenborg is Reitan, the man wearing the captain's armband, and he will come off to be replaced by Hakon Rosten. So change for the visitors. So a new centre half for the Hearts attack to contend with. He looks like a big lad, Alan.
Yeah, he is. And they're just trying to get numbers back there, I think. The Hearts have been very positive with the substitutions. They've got, as Craig touched on, they've got 4 attacking players: Forrest, Mackay, Kagawa and Shankland. It looks like they're certainly going to try and win it in 90 minutes. But they're right, you could lose it.
So the boy that's just come on, Rosten, just 18 years old, so a good test for him, facing a striker with the prowess and the ability of Shankland. His medical attention is being waved on here for one of the Rosenborg players. Can't quite see who it is at the moment because they're surrounded by a flurry of jerseys. It's Naipan, the youngster, 16-year-old.
The referee's upset the Hearts fans this evening a few times, isn't he? What's his name again, Andy?
Do you want me to spell it for you?
You're better spelling it than saying it.
I don't even know if that falls within regulations. You can search it online if anybody wants to find out. I'm not taking that chance.
Come on, Andy, you're going to have to say it.
Just apologies for any ironically colourful language the listeners might have heard there from the fans in front of us. Saves us saying the referee's name. So Naipan just taking a bit of time here to get back to his feet.
He's been good tonight, Alan.
He was great in the first game as well.
Yeah,
he was brilliant in the first game.
16-year-old. He's quite a unit, isn't he, for 16?
Yeah.
Rosenborg's youngest ever player, played when he was 15 in the Norwegian top flight.
It's about that age when Odegaard started to make his name as well. He was a 16-year-old young boy, got to Real Madrid.
They seem to have a constant stream of impressive teenagers coming out of the Scandinavian leagues, Alan. Haaland was young when he went from Molde to Salzburg as well.
And then on to Dortmund. Then obviously the rest is history. Scoring a goal 4 minutes into the season.
15 to play of the 90. We're headed to extra time as it stands.
There'll be a few, there must be 5 minutes at least added on. We've had a few substitutions and Physio's been on a couple of times.
There goes Tagawa down the right hand side for Hearts. His attempted touch inside is taken away from him, and Pereira sends it clear as far as Devlin, who looks okay now, but he's lost out there. The ball bouncing around midfield is taken down by the right back Anderson. He gives it to Thorvaldsen, the striker who's dropped deep to try and get involved, slowly moving infield. Quick update from Switzerland, and it's great news for Hibs. They've scored. Martin Boyle has put them 5-3 up on aggregate, so they're looking good now to reach the playoff round for the Conference League, where they will play Aston Villa if they can hold on to that. It's tense here at Tynecastle, and Rosenborg have won a free kick around 40 yards out, very central position. Thorvaldsen won it. Craig, you're shaking your head.
Ken can't win that ball. It's impossible, and all he does is give a free kick away and put pressure on the back line. So I mean, there was no way he was winning that, and he's barged into the back of Thorvaldsen and given away a silly free kick.
We saw after 4 or 5 minutes when Rosenborg took the lead how much that deflated the home support. I'd like to think that a goal now for Rosenborg would have the opposite effect, given the time restraints that Hearts would have.
I mean, I don't know, honestly, Andy, I can't call this.
Here comes the cross, out swinging all the way to the back post. Oh, knocked down. Did that come off the hand of Atkinson? Nobody's claimed for it, and cleared out for a throw in to Rosenborg on the left hand side. It was Jensen, the centre half at the back post, trying to nod it back into the danger zone. Atkinson was in his way, so throw into Rosenborg. Pereira midway through the Hearts half, left hand side. Little flurry of white in front of him, picked up by Thorvaldsen. His first touch was good, the second one was loose, and Atkinson is able to clear again, and his clearance actually came off him. So thrown to Hearts midway through their own half. It was a rather rude reintroduction for Hearts last season to European group stage football. Got the better of Riga in the games they were expected to win, but the games against Fiorentina and Istanbul Başakşehir here were tough to say the least, really. Conceded 15 goals to the pair over 4 games.
Yeah, Fiorentina got to the final.
Yeah, tough draw, wasn't it?
Very tough.
Yeah, I think they did as well as probably could be expected.
Winning the 2 games they expected to win, or they should have won, and lost the 4 you would expect them to lose.
It shows the strength of European competition these days, though, with even the Conference League producing a group like that.
Wait till the Saudis are in. They'll be buying their way in shortly.
Mackay looking to slide one into the box for Forrest. It was intercepted. Picked up by Mackay again, though. Left hand side, he wins a throw. Hearts' best run in Europe was back in 88-89. Quarter-finals of the UEFA Cup when Bayern Munich won 2-1 in aggregate. Famous night here, though, with Ian Ferguson's goal giving them a 1-0 win.
What a goal that was on the night.
Little quarter-final European run. Seems almost an impossibility for a club the size of Hearts these days, just relatively speaking. Here they go, they're looking for a third goal with Shankland. His shot takes a nick on its way through to the keeper. That's easily grasped. Shifted it onto his right foot at the edge of the area. Well blocked, though, by The centre mid for Rosenborg, Borkheat. Up into the sky from Rosenborg's number 8 towards the Hearts defence. Both defences looking rather tetchy and nervous at the moment. It's getting to that stage, Alan, where any foot placed, put an inch out of place could decide it.
Yeah, tiredness is going to come in as well. You know, it's the game's been played at a fair pace. You know, and it's still early on in the season for a lot of these. Mackay especially, you know, you can imagine he's not played for a long time. His lungs always just come off the bench, but Craig will tell you when you come off, you've not been playing, your lungs are burning.
Shanklin brings the ball down on his chest, halfway line. Lobs one over the top for Tagawa to chase. It is marshalled well, and Jensen thumps clear back towards the halfway line. Good desire shown by Atkinson and Devlin, the countryman, to win the ball back for Hearts and give it to Kingsley on the left-hand side. Rolls it infield for Kai Rolls. Halfway line, attempt at the switch. Well won in the air by Devlin, but Shanklin, the recipient, eventually was coming back from an offside position, so free kick Rosenborg just about midway through their own half on the left-hand side. 10 to play, 2-1 to Hearts, 3-3 on aggregate. Last time Rosenborg played in Edinburgh, they were beaten 9-1. I think we've passed that stage of proceedings. It was against Hibs back in the 70s. Here's Mackay scything through Rosenborg in the middle of the park. And Thorvaldsen, who's cut a frustrated and rather angry figure, to be honest, over the last 10 minutes, is booked for chopping down the Hearts sub.
Easy call by the referee there.
So free kick Hearts, right on the edge of the centre circle in the Rosenborg half. They take it short, which the referee...
He looks like Craig Thompson. I've been trying to wonder who that referee looks like.
Well, he's not happy with Devlin taking that free kick so quickly. So it's Cochrane that will take charge now. He still has Barry Mackay free on the left-hand side, should he choose to use him. He's looking over in Mackay's direction, but he's angled for the clip into the box. That's where it goes. Towards the back post for Kent, who's rising. Nodded down, dangerous area, nobody there in maroon. And Rosenborg clear. All the way back to Xander Clark. Cochrane, the only man in the Hearts half, takes it from his goalkeeper, switches the play to the left-hand side. Shanklin picks up, good touch into the box, but well screened. And Rosenborg are able to work their way out of trouble. It's a throw into Hearts' far side.
You just need the crowd now, Andy. The last 10 minutes, you just need them.
Cochrane in midfield for Hearts. He's moved in there after a couple of substitutions. Gives it to Atkinson. Rosenborg just inviting Hearts onto them here. There's certainly no high press. Happy to stick to their shape and ask Hearts the question. Forrest, right-hand side, drifting infield, no way forward. Gives it to Kent, who'll switch the play from right to left for Mackay. Straight on to Fredriksson's head, though. And nodded down now for Holzer. And Rosenborg, if they're clever here, can counter. Here comes Naipan, the youngster. He's got Vidersen Paul on his left. That's where it goes, in the Hearts box. Cross ball is blocked by Kent. Out for a Rosenborg corner on the near side. From back to front in a flash. And Hearts were backpedaling there.
That's a poor pass from Kent. There's under no need. He's trying to hit a 60-yard diagonal. He underhits it. Atkinson's too far up the park. He's out of position. And they're counter-attacked on. Don't throw the game away.
83rd minute. Pereira to cross for Rosenborg. It's a low one. Dreadful. In fact, Barry Mackay can even bring it under control at the front post. Then he sends clear. That's one for Alan Forrest to chase down the inside right. The goalkeepers come all the way out, and Hansen is able to play a little triangle with a few teammates, and Rosenborg will come clear down the left-hand side again. Pereira has time to look for a teammate. Infield to Vidensen Paul, but Atkinson's all over him. Wins the ball back for Hearts, and now rolls on the edge of the D.
Atkinson
They're being
should
urged
just come
forward here.
Atkinson should just come and play right back for a little spell. How's about that?
He's over in central midfield at the moment. Alan Forrest has had to drop in.
Oh no.
And that's a ball back to Xander Clark that had a fair bit of zip on it. Well controlled by the goalkeeper. Gives it to Rolls on the edge of the 18, and Hearts work it clear down the left-hand side. Mackay wants it on the half-turn and gets it. Drifting away down the left-hand side. Well tackled though by Rosenborg. The right back Anderson was in his way, and Devlin won it from him superbly, but he's judged to have fouled him. And that's really drawn the ire of the home support as Rosenborg prepare to make a change, Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, number 32, Leo Cornish, 22-year-old defender, is going to be coming on. I'm not sure if the board's going up. Yes, it is. Number 17, Thorvaldsen, who was yellow carded just a few moments ago. So it's a defender coming on for a striker. It looks as if they're playing for penalty kicks.
Cornish has had an impact for Rosenborg already in this run. He scored the extra time winner in the previous round against Crusaders. So even though he's a defender coming on, he certainly can find a goal. And the man that was down injured, Anderson, is just slowly getting back to his feet.
What are we thinking? 6 minutes added on?
Minimum.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, a couple of players actually getting ready for Rosenborg. Brian, what's happening over there? Flurry of activity.
Yeah, the reason they delayed that substitute was because that would have been the third substitute that they could have made. And, of course, they're only allowed 3 substitute breaks. So they stopped that one from coming on. They're now also going to make a second substitution. There's going to be Anderson, the player who's coming off, and we're still waiting to see exactly. Looks like number 44, Magnus Holt, will be the second substitute. So that was the reason that was delayed, because if that substitute, if Cornish had gone on, then they wouldn't have been allowed to bring on another substitute because they would have used the three breaks.
So Rosenborg rolling both their dice at once then. Hearts have won a free kick in the meantime, midway through their own half. Xander Clark sends it long towards the Rosenborg penalty area. Shanklin's on his own, can't bring the ball down. Hearts regain possession in midfield with Rolls right on the halfway line. A rigid Rosenborg opposition in front of them. Kent, low pass out wide to Atkinson. We're level on aggregate, 3-3. 3 minutes of the 90 remaining at Tynecastle. Barry Mackay, left-hand side, drifting infield past Fredrickson. Wonderful pass into the feet of Kingsley in the box. Looks to cross, it's deflected behind for a Hearts corner.
It's a great ball in from Mackay into Kingsley's feet. Just takes a slightly heavy touch away from goal. If he could have turned, might have got a shot off. The corner coming into the box with about 8 to 8 minutes on the clock almost.
This would be nice, Alan, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Well, Hearts have preferred the outswinger on that side through Cochrane, but it's now Mackay with his hand in the air preparing to take. Frankie Kent is getting a talking to. Now the whistle goes. Mackay's delivery over everybody. Kingsley was the nearest one to it. It's drifted out for a goal kick to Rosenborg. If somebody had gambled at the back post, Craig, that was a chance.
Normally you have somebody making their way round to the back area. There was nobody in that area at all.
The place where Robbo used to stand at the back post, just nod them in.
Yeah.
Everybody else does all the hard work and he gets the credit, knocks it in for half a yard.
So as Brian said, off goes Thorvaldsen for Cornish, and Anderson is the other player coming off, the right back, to be replaced by Magnus Holte. He's another youngster, 17 years old, coming on for Rosenborg. Scored a last-minute winner for them off the bench in their most recent league game.
He's a big-looking lad as well, isn't he?
Huge.
Well brought down from the long ball by Fredrickson, and the pass had to be read by Atkinson, sliding in on the edge of the D to clear, because that was heading into the path of Viren St. Paul. Hearts have sent it all the way back to Hansen now. Up goes the young substitute Holt, looking for the run of Viren St. Paul. Kai Rolls gets there, but his attempted bring down is poor. And Rosenborg are looking to work their way into the Hearts box here, but there's Cammy Devlin covering a blade of grass he's covered dozens of times already to intercept. But he gave it to Kingsley, who has ran it out of play for a Rosenborg throw, level with the Hearts penalty area on the far side. Down for Holst. Cornish gives it back to him. Rosenborg have it down next to the corner flag, right hand side. Ball in for Fredriksson. He's looking to skip away from a few markers. Devlin steps in and just clears the ball as far as he possibly can into the last minute of the 90. 3-3 on aggregate.
Tetchy at the moment.
Long ball from Hansen. Up goes the young sub, Holte. Comes down to Virensen Paul. Kyrol's had to get a toe and he did. It's a late challenge on Frankie Kent, but nothing given. Ball down the line for Naipin now, left hand side. The atmosphere on and off the pitch here in the stands is getting turned up to boiling point. 7 minutes added on. Borkait sends it wide for Rosenborg on the halfway line. Young substitute Cornitz. Left hand side for Pereira to bring down. Up goes Atkinson. Pereira being forced back. Forrest trying his best to press. 1-2 from Rosenborg to get away from Atkinson. Pereira now hitting the byline. Tries to cut it back, but Cochrane's there. He clears only as far as Shankland, and Hearts will gladly accept this throw-in because Rosenborg have been piling it on for a few minutes. Just in line with their own 18-yard box, right-hand side, as Atkinson just takes a moment to get back to his feet.
A little bit panicky, I felt there. It was sort of getting tired and a little bit nervous. I mean, it took Shankland to come back to show any composure at all in that defensive area.
It's played to Cochrane on his right foot and he panics. He tries to shift it onto his left in the box and basically scoops it.
Thrown to Hearts, just inside their own half.
They've not been able to get Tagawa in.
Well, here he goes, down the right-hand side, latching on to Alan Forrest's lob forward. One-on-one with his marker, breaking into the box on the right-hand side. He goes back to Devlin midway through the Rosenborg half. Little Cruyff turn, shot at goal. It was poor, but picked up by Shankland. Devlin again, edge of the box. Goal! Cammy Devlin, with the aid of a huge deflection, has surely scored the winning goal for Hearts. And Tynecastle is losing its mind.
Well, who'd have thought Cammy Devlin scores 2 goals? He normally doesn't get 2 goals in a season, Andy. Incredible. I mean, he picked up the ball on the edge of the box, had a shot, it came back to him. He did have the good fortune. I'm sure there was a deflection, actually.
Yeah, big deflection.
Yeah, and but I mean, what a brilliant result. Absolutely brilliant result for Hearts.
We need to defend, Craig. 7 minutes. Get back. Come on, everyone. I hate this when they do this. It's brilliant, they're ahead. But the whole team runs up to celebrate. I get it. I get they're all delighted, but get back, get your shape. There's still 6 minutes to go here.
Well, another thing is, he maybe add another minute on, Alan, because of the celebration.
That's the new rules, he does now. But just get in there. Get yourself, make sure Shankland's back in the midfield. Tagawa's up on his own. Really tight composure in the middle of the park.
Talk about making your own luck though, Alan. He's been superb tonight, Cammy Devlin. His shot was picked up by Shankland on the edge of the box, and then when he gets a second bite at the cherry, he barely catches it at all, and it deflects past the goalkeeper, who was wrong-footed.
Incredible.
And Hearts lead 3-2.
He's been the best player in the park, Devlin. He's been magnificent, and I thought he was going off with an injury. He's got himself through it. They need to show composure now. They need to bring on someone, a defensive-minded player. They've got 4 attackers up there. Bring on.
I think Civic's coming on the looks of things.
Say Hearts lead 3-2. That's a slip of the tongue. It's 4-3 on aggregate, of course. Rosenborg trying to lob the ball towards the Hearts penalty area. Up goes the young substitute Holt. Breaks to Virensen Paul, shoots, and Xander Clark has to tip over the crossbar. That was flying into his near top corner. And Rosenborg have a corner on the far side. Quick news of a substitute, Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, the minute that ball hit the back of the net, Toby Civic got the call. It's going to be Alex Cochrane coming off, obviously trying to shore up the rear guard for the last 6-7 minutes or so.
Well, danger lurks here for Hearts.
We need
Alex
to get him
Cochrane.
on there. We need to get him in that box. The referee's pushing him off, which is fine, but they need to Civic time to get into that box.
So Cochrane heads off just next to the Hearts goal, and Civic will jog on.
As if it's sprinting on.
Everyone back for Hearts. Everyone but the goalkeeper forward for Rosenborg. A goal for them takes it to extra time. Corner's headed clear at the front post by Barry Mackay. Picked up by Holzer. Lobs it back in centrally. Kent's up. Civic gets his first touch, and that's to clear. Gives it to Forrest, who's racing clear down the right-hand side now, like a thief with a handbag. And he's intercepted. And in the end, he has to settle for a throw-in. In fact, it's not even gone his way.
If he'd got his head up, Andy, he should have played Shankland, didn't he?
So Rosenborg throw the ball in, and young Nipan is dispossessed by substitute Tony Civic, who's in front of the defence by the looks of things at the moment. He's just going back to join them now. Rosenborg have the ball in the centre circle, and they give it to the centre-back Jensen. His cross comes towards Xander Clark and no one else, and he collapses on the ball.
Okay, it's been a brilliant European night again, Craig. We were 1-0 down, 4 minutes. You're thinking it's a long way back. We get back into the game. 10 minutes into the second half, they're 2-1 up, and you're thinking, is this going to go to extra time? Deflected shot, they need to see it through now.
Remember, Hearts haven't turned round a first leg deficit in 31 years. Cammy Devlin is the man that's rewriting the history books now with his double. A few minutes of the added 7 still to play. Time is of the essence for Rosenborg. Left hand side for them. Tagawa pressing. Jensen chops inside. Gives it to the substitute Roston, who's breaking into the middle of the park. Gives it to his teammates, who crosses it to the left hand side for Pereira, who tried to beat his man in Forest, but Atkinson was there to sweep up, outnumbered 2-1. All hands on deck for Hearts. Borkiet, right to left for Pereira, who does well to keep that in play. He's trying to get past Atkinson, who stands in his way, wins the ball, and is then clipped as he looks to race clear. We'll cross back to Brian McLaughlin pitch side, because there's another play coming on for Hearts.
Yeah, another Hearts player goes down in the far side, so this may well be delayed, but Andy Halliday has had the call. He was told a few months ago this must be surely just to run down the clock. Still again waiting to see which number's on the board. It's going to be number 14, Cammy Devlin, and wait to hear the roar for the Aussies. He walks off.
He's been magnificent, Brian, absolutely magnificent. Topped off with his 2 goals.
He was talking about still having nightmares about the Zurich game last season, but he'll be having sweet dreams tonight if it stays like this. He's the match winner as it stands. Scorer of Hearts' second and third goals. And he takes the magnificent acclaim from the home support to be replaced by Andy Halliday.
Yeah, and I do think overall Hearts have deserved this victory, and I hope that really they'll gain enormous confidence from this and helping their league form as well. So it's really important that it managed to see this out.
Long ball towards Tagawa. He's marshalled well by Jensen. And as it stands, we're going to have a shot at 5 Scottish clubs in European football this season, with Hibs in good nick over in Switzerland and Hearts in pole position here. Long ball from Rosenborg goes all the way out for a goal kick. Xander Clark surely will take his time here.
It's interesting, Alan, though. I mean, I'm looking at that last free kick there that went to Tagawa. Normally that ball should be aimed for the corner. You know, so if it goes out of play, goes out for a throw-in, and you've still got the opposition pinned in. Sometimes that's where a little bit of experience comes in handy.
It's game management, Craig. You've got to know what the right pass to play at the right time. You know, hit corners just now. That's what they've got to try and do.
The referee's checked his watch. We've played 8 minutes. 7 were added. Yeah! And there is the whistle! Hearts have done it. They have overturned the first leg deficit, and they're 1 game from the Conference League group stages once again. Cammy Devlin, the unlikely hero, with 2 goals. And after such a shocking start, in which they fell behind after only 4 minutes, Hearts grabbed this game by the scruff of the neck, and they did not let it go, Craig Levine.
No, I just said there just before the final whistle blew that I think they thoroughly deserved to win this game. You know, they were behind coming into it. They lost the goal at the beginning, 4 minutes into the match. That puts you on the back foot. It took a little bit of time to get on top, but and who would have thought Cammy Devlin with two goals? I mean, incredible.
Do you know what's great to see? Not that he's upset. Young Naipan, 16 years of age. Every Hearts player's went over to him. Because we're watching a superstar in the making here. He was magnificent.
He was different class.
16-year-old player. You know, this is a name that you're going to hear. He's going to go places. He's a wonderful talent. But take nothing away from Hearts. After a shaky first 5 minutes, they were brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. They deserve to win, Craig. Totally deserve to win. Every single player has played their part. Kent was shaky at times. Clark had a great save at 2-1. You know, Kingsley got better. Cochrane was great. Atkinson grew into the game. Rowells. Shankland played a captain's part. Devlin's outstanding. Young Denham. There was not a failure out there tonight from Hearts. They were brilliant, and that's got to give them so much confidence to kickstart their season, starting again on Sunday.
Alan, I think the supporters appreciate the effort that was put in tonight. I mean, there's hardly anybody left, you know. The place is still rocking.
Well, that's it. They've now got a trip to Greece to look forward to. Brilliant.
That's it, Alan. PAOK of Greece lie in wait now for Hearts after a magnificent turnaround at Tynecastle. It's Hearts who progress. They've beaten Rosenborg on aggregate by 4-3.
Hearts in the Europa Conference League qualifiers.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.